Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Understanding Discipline and Liberty in Young Children. Now, as I have already told you that I have a lot of instances to explain and infer, I have two of them to be done in this episode. While both of them happen at different scenarios, probably in different countries at different time zones, the one thing that is common is all of them take place in a school environment. Now, the first instance goes like this. It is an outdoor classroom, and I would say an outdoor class is something very common in nursery and playgroup. It was it is very prevalent in schools who really understand the impact or the importance of a outdoor class, and it is of course a very trivial thing in the olden days. Now, in the outdoor class, the teacher was having a requirement. She was waiting for something, and meanwhile there was a little girl in the class who gathered a group of friends, and she made them all sit in a circle, and she sat right in front of them. And she started talking about prayers. She was basically teaching prayers, in fact, the words that are to be used in the prayers. She was also telling them how to pray and talking about the importance of prayers. Now, as she was doing this, she did it with a lot of grandeur, emotions, expressions, and gestures, and she did it pretty well that even the other kids who were not a part of the listening group also started looking at her. While all of this was happening, the teacher had got a requirement and she wanted the immediate attention of her child, and of all her children. So, just like all times, the teacher makes a very loud announcement in a very interviewing tone, asking the children to listen to her. This girl, who was so engrossed in her talk, did not listen to the teacher. So the teacher quickly runs up to her, withdraws her waving arms, and says, "Be quiet and listen to me." And this is the end of the story. Now let us understand what this little one was trying to do. Firstly, she was actually reflecting her culture. Prayers are a part of her daily routine, and she had a very definite impact about prayers. She was quite sure that prayer is such an important thing that she really wanted to talk about it to her friends. Secondly, she was actually imitating her mother or her teacher. A teacher usually makes all the children sit in an ordered form, and then she delivers something. And a mother is the one who teaches all these prayers. So she is having a reflection of the teacher as well as her mother's character. Thirdly, she is demonstrating her leadership skill. She was such a brilliant leader that she was able to captivate the attention of kids who are of her own age. While the teacher is not available, while the teacher is not still engaging the children, even then, this little one was witty enough to grab the attention of not just her own friends but also her classmates. So, with all of this reflections about what she had gone through all her life going on, bringing it to a sudden break by the teacher is not very conducive. Now, why is it not conducive? What kind of reflections or what kind of impact can it create on the child? I will keep you posted about this as we do the second instance. Now, the second instance goes like this. There is a little boy who is very different. He lives in his own world, is not very amicable. He is always characterized by kind of unstable behavior and very awkward gestures. So, most of them think this little child is very abnormal. So, this has been the kind of perceptions that people have, or probably the teachers have, on this child. Now, there is a small event happening at the school. He sees that his environment is so busy. There are a lot of people carrying tables and chairs and bringing them uh, to the area, and they're being arranged. This little child suddenly feels that he also wants to be a part of this, quickly drags a big table and tries to bring it into the same alignment that is already available there. But he does it with a very irritating and a screeching sound, which quickly attracted his teacher. So the teacher runs up to him and uh, does it in a very, very unpleasing manner, asking him to stop it and refusing his help. Now, let us understand again about the reflections of this child's movements. The first thing is that a child who was considered not at all social is now getting into his social environment. He is looking at his environment, he is understanding that something is going on, and he also wants to be a part of that something. So he wants to render a helping hand basically. So the first point is that he wants to render a helping hand to what is going on. The second thing is that there is a sense of order or a form of discipline that is popping in him. He sees that the tables and chairs are arranged in a particular fashion and he wants to do the same thing. So, that is the very first time he or his inner soul is stepping into what we call as an inner order. And thirdly, a person who is considered very amicable, lost in his own world, is now having coordinated movements. His mind, his hands, legs, all his body muscles are working towards a definite goal of putting all the chairs and tables in proper form. So, this demonstrates so much of the physical and the mental and the psychic life of the child. So, while all of this is happening like a magic, in no time, we are trying to bring in a break, a sudden break. Now, what has happened to this child because of this? Let me tell you that. That makes us understand the situation better, and we also will be able to understand what should not be done to children. Now, as this is happening, the child slowly realizes that he is not supposed to move anything, or given any movable object, he is still not supposed to play with it, and he continues to be silent. Children who are in the age group of 0 to 3 are not much acquainted, or they don't have their reasoning skills in place. They can probably empathize with emotions, but they cannot stand in some other's shoes, reasoning out for especially an adult's mind. So all he was able to understand about the situation is that he was moving something and the teacher asked him not to do that. Simple. He was able to match it like that. And that refrained him from movement at all. So we are causing immobility to the child. And this could be what we call as conclusions that children derive from our actions. So, we as teachers, parents, or even strangers have to understand something very, very carefully. If you want a child to stop something, you have to get into his journey. Look at his journey. What is he going through? What is he passing through? What is he trying to attain? Try to pause him and not stop him immediately. Pause him, make him understand why he is not supposed to do it or why he is not supposed to continue doing it. Give him reasons, make him understand, and then ask him to pause it. Or, if possible, allow him to complete the task and then bring him back in whichever way you want to. But breaking all of a sudden without observing the child being so active and active enough in a child's life is not to be encouraged, because children cannot reason and all they can do is only map an action with the reaction, and that might be misleading for them. So, as adults, even if we are not capable enough to be of help to the child, we definitely should not be misleading the child and giving them misconceptions about what they are doing and what is expected to be done. Catch you again with more and more information in the upcoming videos. See you.